Good afternoon on this beautiful Friday, Minot sports fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Minot Sports Podcast, episode 6 into season 2. As always, we have another good one for you guys coming up here. A continuation on all of the fall athletics, lots of volleyball, some Class A soccer action going on, some more football too, tennis, swim and dive, anything you can think of, it is all on here. A quick reminder, always, that the podcast is sponsored by KMSU TV and radio. Follow us on social media, the Minot Sports Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel where you will get all of your episodes on there. Follow KMSU TV and radio on social media, same platforms. And speaking of KMSU TV and radio, we just had our first broadcast of the campus TV show called MSU Inside Out, the first showing for the 2020 fall semester. Always good to get the first one out of the way. That way it will get to be a lot more smoother, easier to work with, and the jitters happen less often. It was most certainly a good one, though. You can catch the show live every Thursday at 5 p.m. We go for about half an hour. Again, we have news, weather, sports, live shot interview, some other interviews with some major Minot State personalities out there. Just talking all about Minot State news, whatever's going on in campus life. On the other hand, over here in the podcast booth, we got Minot sports to talk about. Like I said, this is Friday, September 25th. Got Friday Night Lights going on tonight. Some volleyball action, swim and dive in between Minot High and Bishop Bryan. We'll get more into that in a little bit. But let's get started, shall we? From this past week, it was busy. Most notably on Thursday, yesterday. If you didn't have anything to do on Thursday night, all you had to do was look at the Minot sports calendar and see that there was a lot to choose from. Before we get into our analysis, let's summarize the week that just went down. On Tuesday, we had WDA tennis, Minot High Magicians beating the Williston Coyotes 8-1. WDA soccer, Magicians beating the same Coyotes, just in a different sport, 11-0. So another blowout performance by boys soccer against a really struggling Coyotes team. And then Minot High Magets volleyball pulling off the upset over the Legacy Sabres 3-1. That's a good tally on the win column against a quality opponent. Then on Thursday, Minot High Magicians tennis again, this time in Jamestown. They take down the Blue Jays 7-2. Magets volleyball hosting the Bismarck Demons, who are behind them in the standings. Bismarck getting that one 3-2. In Class B volleyball, we'll get to what happened on Tuesday in a second, but on Thursday, RE Deemers losing to Delax Burlington 3-2, and Bishop Ryan beating South Prairie 3-0. But what happened on Tuesday for Class B volleyball? You will find to see one of these games where it is a must-see, a must-watch, circle it on the calendar, make no other plans for the night, and you go and watch it. It was a wild matchup against the two crosstown rivals, Bishop Ryan and RE Deemers. Yes, they do have matchups against each other. Just one of few Minot versus Minot matchups in the year. I said it was the first ever Minot versus Minot matchup of the Minot Sports Podcast era. That is sort of incorrect, depending on how you look at it. In fact, rather, Bishop Ryan and Nedros had a matchup with each other earlier in the volleyball season. Nedros is still within city limits, so technically it was the second, but it was the first one covered on the podcast coverage, but still was going to be a fun matchup to watch nonetheless. And with all the hype going into it, it did not disappoint. It may have not went to 5 sets, but it was one of those quality 4-set games where the final score was either, and these were actually ones recorded at the match, 25-23 and 26-24. By rule, you need to win by at least 2 points And that is what our Redeemers did on both occasions. Other scores were actually 25-21. That was the first set that the Lions took. Our Redeemers came back, winning set 2 25-13. And that's when the good stuff happened. How could you not get more excited than seeing two straight matches that went 25-23, 26-24, just down to the wire? This match lived up to the hype of the crosstown rivalry. It did not disappoint. It simply did not disappoint. Our Redeemers Knights taking the match 3-1. It was a quality match, despite that it didn't go 5. It would have just added on to the hype, though. But you can't be mad over such a great matchup like that. Both teams are still sitting high up there in the standings in the District 12 Region 6 division. This was the only time they would see each other unless they meet up in postseason play. We'll have to wait and see. It was one of those matches where it was so highly competitive that I guess this can apply to every single volleyball match. But for how close this one was, it was almost like that you had no idea who was going to get the next point. Like, that's how pretty darn exciting it was. Those were my thoughts. That's what made it so interesting and so amazing to watch, that you didn't know who was going to get the next one. It was so competitive. They kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You'd have one kill on one side, but that would be stopped by the back end, and then they'd set it up, do it to the other way, and then on and on again. It was like, holy cow. That was some top-notch entertainment, and our Redeemers and Bishop Ryan should certainly be happy, be proud for putting on a great performance for the fans. Majets Volleyball, on the other hand, they're also making some nice performances. As I mentioned earlier, upsetting the Legacy Sabres, who are ahead of them in the division. Not even giving them a fifth set. It was 3-1. But then the next go-around, they lost to Bismarck High, which they are behind them in the standings. But Majets still pushed for a fifth set. And really, you just got to appreciate all of the no-quit attitude from the players. Speaking of no-quit, if you were at Minot High Magicians Soccer, they certainly didn't quit. They knew the matchup going up against second-ranked Bismarck Century in the West Region Division. Yeah, they're close in the record, but this was almost an even matchup that if you had pro sports analysts picking this game, 9 out of 10 of them probably would have said it could go either way. And just by looking at the final score, that a tie, 1-1, yeah, it could have gone either way, but it was so evenly matched, and even the score can say that a lot about it. But yes, the final score wasn't a tie. That does happen in soccer, specifically at the West Region North Dakota high school level. Happens everywhere too. Rodrigue Mugisha was down low, close to the goalie box, and caught one of the Minot High defenders red-handed, made a move, and they went down, which gave Mugisha an open lane to shoot at, in which he picked right side. I'm not sure if J.J. Duffner got a piece of it, but regardless, it went past him. Bismarck High opened up the scoring, but then with 3 minutes left, Minot High working hard to come back, tying it late. The goal credited to Cam Foley, originally credited to Walter Markle and then changed to Braden Oswalt. I got word that it was Cam Foley who scored it, although it was hard to see from the angle that I had, and just a scramble in front in the Bismarck goalie box. But to see this performance from a Magicians soccer team right before playoff season, because next Saturday they're going to host a play-in game to get to the state tournament if they win, because they ended up with the 4th seed in the division. But let's not worry, guys. This was a quality season for Minot High Boys Soccer. 9 wins, 3 losses, 2 ties. You cannot go wrong with that. Because now, that just makes the playing game, it's going to be easier for them having to play in front of the home fans against one of the teams sitting low in the West Region Conference. Yeah, you still don't want to sleep on them. That's always a big rule to follow. You don't want to get in it over your head. But here we are for playoff season. The games matter. To get to state, win, and you're in. That is the situation now for Minot High Boys Soccer. Next Saturday at 1 o'clock. Opponent still yet to be determined. Well, at least I have not seen it yet. Exactly who it is. But now the games matter. Whoever it is that they will be playing, this is their moment to shine and to show up in the big time. Get ready for some postseason action, Minot sports fans. Our first wave of postseason coming in fast. Should be lots of fun. Magicians Tennis once again proving that they are heavy favorites in the WDA division. They are on their way also for postseason action, as Minot is the host town for the West Region Boys Tennis Tournament. Going the same format as usual, the same traditional way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Got to win 2 matches to clinch a spot in the state tourney, although their odds are looking better to challenge for that West Region Tourney Championship, which not only will they still get a spot in the state tournament, but they will get a chance to compete for being crowned Kings of the West. So Minot High, Minot sports fans still have more chances to go see some high-quality tennis action. How Minot High good is this year. Definitely cheer them on hard. Again, having lost both matches to Legacy, they will present a challenge in the West Region tourney matchup. Heck, they may show up, the 2 in the tournament championship. Who knows? But just take it day by day. Don't take teams for granted. Of 3 matches, you're guaranteed a spot in the state tourney if you win 2 of them. And I like Minot's odds. The actual dates for the regional tournament for boys tennis: Thursday, October 1st, Friday, October 2nd, Saturday, October 3rd. Those are your tournament dates for West Region Boys Tennis. And then October 3rd is the same day for Minot High Magicians Soccer play-in game. Looks like they will be hosting because due to the better seed, the seeding. So some nice home court, home field advantage for your Magicians. While we are on topic of dates, remember when we talked about Minot State Women's Hockey unveiling a schedule for their new season? You can now add the Minot Minotauros to that list, and so they are now confirmed to play a full NAHL season, opening up the season with a 6-game homestand home opener on October 9th versus none other than the Bismarck Bobcats inside the Pepsi rink at the Mesa Arena, where the scoreboard, the old one, is now switched out for a video board, all digital, and it looks beautiful. How about that for getting the hockey season going? And let's not forget also that they still have a preseason game that will be going on tomorrow, Saturday the 26th, against the Aberdeen Wings. Once again, guys competing for roster spots. So some hockey to be watched. Of course, same as usual, all their games are against divisional opponents. The Minnesota Wilderness, St. Cloud with a new name, the Norsemen, used to be called the Blizzard, but now they have rebranded and they are called the St. Cloud Norsemen. Again, the Bismarck Bobcats too, the lone in-state rival for the Toros, Aberdeen Wings, and the Austin Bruins. Toros have some non-divisional games in February versus the Kenai River Brown Bears, so it'll be interesting to see for the first time in a while, a game being played against a non-NAHL Central Division team. So good to see that they are exploring some options there. At least getting creative with the schedule. Those will be home games for the Toros, by the way. Should be fun to see. Minot Jets swim and dive getting started as we speak right now. They are hosting Century and Dickinson. Will Minot High be able to catch up to Century and surpass them for the final score on the scoreboard? What a quality program they have. Majets swimming. In fact, all of Minot. I've heard that they're the ones that started swimming in North Dakota, that they're pretty much the heart of swimming in the state, which probably explains why all of those state championship banners. Some very great programs for both the Majets and the Magicians. In fact, you can almost call them one program because they're pretty much all mixed together. The success, just that one for the female division and male division. Some more Toros news. Congrats to Toros tender and forward Ben Strinden. He has announced his intentions to play for the University of North Dakota Fighting Hawks in Grand Forks. So he'll be fairly close to home. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, a Fargo South alum, Fargo South High School. So that is where he got his hockey career going and then made the jump to play at a higher level. And now he'll be playing for the Hawks soon. Good for Ben. Good for the Toros getting some more recognition in the NCAA commitments and announcements. Minot State Athletics this week getting back to practices. That's some exciting news there. Their first practices in a while after having some weeks off. I know kind of some of the COVID tests, the positives, have abruptly hurt for a bit, I would think, but I'm not fully aware of the situation. But good to see the college athletics getting back, at least on a practice schedule, working out, getting involved with the veterans, the newer recruits, the newer guys, coaches, everyone getting all together. So nice to talk some Minot State athletics on here as well. We just hope to see some athletic events in the near future, maybe even as early as January 1st when the sports suspension is lifted. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Minot Sports Podcast, episode 6 of season 2. We got some more sporting events coming up tomorrow during the weekend. RE Deemers Volleyball will be in action. Same with more Minot High Majets Swim and Dive. Minot High Magicians Football at 1:30 in the afternoon, playing against the Bismarck Century Patriots in Bismarck at the Community Bowl. That will be broadcasted live on Midco Sportsnet. Bishop Ryan Football tonight versus the Nedros Cardinals, which that is the same place, the same field that Bishop Ryan has borrowed from. And now both teams are going to meet for the first time this season at that very field. Nedros will be the designated home team because, yes, obviously, it's their field, so, and the schedule says it on there, it is at Nedros. But again, that is all Minot Sports fans for this one. Hoping to get Fridays as my designated interview days with MSU coaches and MSU athletes, continuing with the MSU Coaches and Athletes series. Be sure to follow the podcast on social media, Instagram, the Minot Sports Podcast, Twitter, at Minot Podcast, and Facebook, same username as the Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is also, once again, the same name. Follow our sponsors, KMSU TV and Radio, on social media, Facebook, KMSU TV/radio, Instagram, KMSU TV Radio, and Twitter at KMSU19, and KMSU TV on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. The first MSU Inside Out episode should be posted soon. It is already posted up on Facebook. I'm proud to say that I am an official co-host of the show, so very exciting. So follow along on that. Again, the show is being broadcasted every Thursday at 5. Should be lots of great news and content being thrown out there. As always, thank you guys for listening. You made it through another episode. As always, take care, stay safe and healthy out there, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.